Hey Andrew, so thank you for coming in, man. That ankle honestly kind of surprised me. Stronger than I thought. You're walking really well, but obviously still tender and holding you back a little more than you want. So here's my game plan for you. I want you to do these things honestly as frequently as you can over the next week or two. Let's catch up in a week or so and kind of see how you're feeling, see what the next step's going to be. Until then, obviously no ball, no running, no jumping, nothing too aggressive, but I do want you to start really perfecting the easy stuff, right? We found out today we can do some squatting. We found out today that balance and that some strength moves are definitely on the table. And that's great, but I want to start with inflammation. Again, you know what I said today, I always like to tackle inflammation, then motion, and then strength. So I just don't think you quite got over the inflammation over the last 2.5 months, it seems. So I would keep icing this thing daily. If I had to pick, end of the day would be ideal. That way you're helping with kind of the inflammation from the day, and that'll help you with some of that morning, that night pain and some of that morning stiffness you're having. So I would ice at the end of the day. If you can, kind of around that ice session, also probably do some stretching as well. Just, if you go into the evening tight, you're gonna wake up really tight. So kind of loosen up and ice it before bed if you can. And honestly, right now, as tender as it is, in a couple spots, I'd probably even ice a couple times a day. So if you can do it after work, before bed, I think that's a wonderful routine. So I would ice, keep doing that. Again, Advil as needed. I don't know if we're still quite have the need for daily anti-inflammatory pills, but maybe kind of here and there based on what you're doing. And then the brace. I don't think you're done with the brace. I don't think it's often, but I still think there's probably going to be times that call for wearing it because, again, it's just sore. So get that thing back out of the closet, wear it on occasion if you don't mind. Just for the bigger stuff, the things that hey, I might be a little sore after this. That'd be great. So inflammation is still the number one goal. When it comes to mobility, I got a couple moves for you. One was the joint itself. I want you to move that joint around. We kind of did in here. Cross your leg. That way you have full control of this ankle. One that I really like for you is just grabbing that heel and just going up and down and just kind of moving that joint around. It should feel good, honestly, doing this because you still have some boot stiffness in there. So, and honestly, just years of stiffness here. So just working that joint around. You might feel some knocking around and feel some bone on bone, if you will. But that's all good stuff, right? Also, I like the pulling. So you're pulling away, and then also adding a little calf stretch is a great way. So you're pulling down with your heel, adding some calf stretch. You can pull down and just actively do the calf on your own. I love this move. So hand pull, toes up. Hand pull, toes up. That's a great one. Also, when you're here, we can work on the other motions. We can work on some down. We can work on some in very gently. No pain with these, just more getting some of that tightness out. But again, I really like you kind of working the heel and working that calf Achilles stretch here. That's great. From a stretching, just traditional stretching perspective, I think the biggest one, it was eye-opening today, was the calf. So 2 options on the calf. If you are sitting down, if you're sitting watching the game, watching TV, getting your World Cup in, I do still think there's a place for this band, calf stretching. What I would do, or the rule that I would have for you on this, was the knee needs to be straight, right? If you do that with a bent knee and you pull this, you're not feeling that stretch quite in the upper calf where you need it. Straight knee, pull back, don't care how many you do. Again, if it's comfortable, you can't do enough. So I think this is a good option. I think where you're gonna make a little more bang for your buck is gonna be using some sort of an incline on the ground. Again, these are great. I can text you this if you want, but any sort of an incline. Again, rather than dropping off the stairs like you've been doing, I like getting this stretch. Again, straight knee. Always have straight knee if you can. And then leaning into it. With this, you're a little more in charge. You're in charge of how much forward lean, forward push you get. When you're in charge of that movement, the muscles can relax a little bit more. They know what's coming. If you're doing that one where you drop off the edge of the stairs, they have to fight a little bit because they're fighting gravity and they don't want to slip off the stairs. So I'm being picky, but you did a lot better with this one, I think, in the clinic here. So standing, whenever you can, standing stretch every time you're in the kitchen, every time you're in the living room, every time you're in the bathroom getting ready. Standing stretches, and then also have your couch chair stretches if you can with the belt. That's really all we're working on right now. Again, there's more stretches to be had, but those are the big ones. Those are the Achilles heel, if you will. And then from strength, I don't want to overdo the strength. We don't have a ton to work on. For me, just really two things. One is, again, when you're standing, you are just putting so much weight on that opposite leg, that left leg. It's become such a habit, I think, to get off that. So not only do I want you shifting that and putting weight on that right leg, not being scared of that right leg, but also mixing in some single leg stand whenever you can. This could mean anytime you are standing still, you're on that right leg. Washing your hands, brush your teeth, waiting on the microwave, just anything. You got 10 seconds to kill. Let's kill it on that right leg and just work on that balance. That wobble is going to be great. If you can, throw a pillow, throw a couch cushion under that foot. Make that guy wobble a little bit more. You're going to need that balance training anyway. It's great that your ankle's already handling that well. So let's go ahead and get a head start. Let's knock out all the balance training now. So in a couple weeks we don't have to worry about that anymore. And then the other strength I would do, just because we want to get a little more athletic again, and we want proof of concept that we can do other things. You, obviously, when we did a squat here, you had pain, ouch, in the ankle. But as soon as we elevated those heels, guess what? Takes away some of that tight calf and Achilles, you went down no problem. So I would just go ahead and work in daily, maybe a couple times a day. Just go ahead and get in a dozen or 2 dozen squats with the heels elevated. Or we did, pardon me real quick, you did pretty good here with the 2x. So get a 2x4. Boom. Get your squats in. It's just going to help right the ship, right? We got to get the hips and the knees and the ankles kind of all doing their job again. And you've been out of commission for 10 weeks. So I like these pain-free squats with the heels elevated. If you're having a bad day and you try these and, ooh, that hurts to do, don't do them. But if that elevation can take that pain away, let's do it. I'm hoping in a couple weeks you're able to do the full squat without having to have the elevation and be pain-free. But time will tell. We'll get there soon. So that's really it. So again, inflammation, ice once or twice a day, especially in the evening, and then wear that brace when you can. Mobility, moving the ankle around with your hands, especially pulling the heel and rocking that heel back and forth, and then also calf stretching, a little more deliberate to that upper calf. And then some balance and some squats for fun, because we can. I love it, man. Again, we talked about golf, we talked about maybe shooting a hoop every once in a while. Be my guest. I don't think this thing's going anywhere. It's not unstable. If anything, you're very stable because of the stiffness, right? So I don't think you're hanging by a thread anymore by any means, but we got to get that stiffness out first. Stiffness and soreness first. And then hopefully next time we're talking running, jumping, and dunking again. So that's what I got, man. If you got any questions, please don't hesitate. And then, yeah, let's catch up in a week or two. I don't know your schedule, but I don't want to go too far before we get to the next step. So, all right, brother. Take care. Bye.